Hello and welcome to Live Your Love. Thank you so much for joining us. Today is a magical show. I have two of my favorite people on the planet, Mr. John Morton and Leigh Taylor Young. Would you like to say hello?
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone. We're happy to be here with you.
So I'm going to tell you why you should be so excited to be here for these two incredibly, you guys are ridiculously accomplished. I don't know how you did this in one lifetime. And then I'm going to get personal, and this is going to be a transformational show. So get ready, my beloved listeners and viewers. So we'll start with John Morton. Through his insightful, practical, and truly gentle approach, John Morton has a unique ability to help others see the blessings in themselves and everything that occurs in their lives. John is a spiritual director of the Church of the Movement of Spiritual Inner Awareness, MSIA for short, an ecumenical non-denominational organization founded by John Roger with communities worldwide. He is also the chairman of the board for Insight Seminars and the chancellor of the University of Santa Monica. Since 1979, John has brought his heartfelt service all over the world, presenting seminars on topics including loving, peace, wealth, relationships, and practical spirituality. John is the author of 3 incredible books: The Blessings Already Are, You Are the Blessings, Meditations and Reflections on Life, God, and Us, and Blessings Here and Now. John received his doctoral degree in spiritual science from Peace Theological Seminary and College of Philosophy. As president of John Morton Ministries, John consults with individuals, groups, and organizations to help promote harmony, learning, and growth. Many of his public classes can be viewed online for free. I will tell you all about how to find those. Probably all through, actually, but certainly at the end. By focusing on the goodness inherent in each moment and each experience, John helps awaken others to their spiritual nature, opportunities for greater success, peace, and well-being, and ways to create a better world. John happens to be married. What are the odds? To my beautiful guest.
How about that? We got married this morning. That was great. Just met.
We're celebrating.
Yes, they married Gene. They do marry Gene. And we're going to hear about the secrets to their incredible marriage soon. Hopefully they'll spill the beans. And now I'm going to tell you about my sister, Leigh Taylor Young. So Leigh is an Emmy award-winning actress and an ordained minister. Leigh Taylor Young serves as Vice President of John Morton Ministries. She currently serves as the MSIA ambassador, traveling the world with John Morton and serving as a messenger of John Roger and soul transcendence. Leigh has served as special advisor in arts and media for the United Nations Environment Program and Goodwill Ambassador from the UN for the first Arctic Environmental Forum. Leigh wrote, produced, and narrated The Spirit of Peace, and you will soon hear her voice. Your voice is so transporting.
Oh.
It really is. So you really need to listen to this meditation. And that was coupled with John Morton's meditation, Gathering of Peacemakers, and presented live at the United Nations. And both were released as a CD. As a spokesperson for corporations and charitable organizations, Leigh has represented the Institute for Individual and World Peace, Ted Turner's Better World Society, MCI Corporation, Hands Across America, and the American Cancer Society. She's also hosted a muscular dystrophy telethon and has been an advisory board member for Heartfelt Foundation and the Educare Foundation, a youth leadership training program. Leigh weaves her lifelong enthusiasm for creativity and self-expression through the many aspects of her loving ministry. Having an extensive interest in the interrelationship of body, mind, and spiritual healing, Leigh's ministry includes serving others by educating and supporting health, fitness, and alternative forms of healing and consciousness-raising experiences. Leigh has a unique ability to help others see the goodness within themselves and touch into their own divine co-creatorship. To learn more about Leigh, please visit her website at lty.com. Welcome. How did they do this in one lifetime? I don't understand. That's incredible.
Helped by this man right here.
Keep going.
We're looking at John Roger on our screen. And as I've already explained to you, this show is very personal. These are two incredible beings, my spiritual mentors for 40 years, 37 years, clearly, since I was a toddler.
I'm counting,
Since you were mere thing.
Yeah, exactly. Gleam in my mama's eye, who they both knew. My mom loved both of you.
Yes, I loved your mother.
Thank you. So we are thrilled. I am thrilled to have you with us. As I start all shows, I'll call on the light, and then we'll begin. So if you're driving, obviously don't close your eyes, but you can certainly participate. If you're not, if you would, please just close your eyes and perhaps place a hand on your heart. And just take a deep breath in and breathe in love. Just stand stall in the spirit as you exhale and let go of anything less than love. Just take a deep breath in and breathe in light. And as you exhale, just melt and let go of anything less than light. And one more deep breath. And truly breathe in that divine light and love of spirit all through your beingness. And as you exhale, that light and love just amplifies all through you, going to exactly where in your consciousness you need it most, extending out to our planet at this tender time. And beloved, Lord God, as we continue to breathe in love and breathe out anything less, we open now and ask that any negativity, karma, imbalances for anyone present, anyone listening, be taken and transmuted perfectly. As we open into the light of the Holy Spirit, the light of the Christ, just connecting heart to each one present, each one listening. Truly be aware that we are all intimately one, intimately connected, intimately loved. We open to that divine love now, asking that it extend to this show, to go all through the show as we absolutely surrender, to open to receive, to be conduits of divine intent. We call ourselves forward into awareness of the traveler consciousness, the angels, the Holy Spirit, that each might be blessed and sanctified, and these blessings pour upon our beautiful planet as this time, in every way for the highest good. Would either of you like to add anything?
Not at this time. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
And so it is.
So it is.
So it is.
Thank you.
In this gathering, so John, my favorite, I love every time you bring up the best is yet to come. And I thought it was so profound when you said the best is yet to come, because we're always evolving. So we're always bringing our best into this moment. So I would love to hear what you can share with our viewers about that. What does that mean to you personally? How can we contribute to that?
Well, it's a view. I consider it's what we see when we see spiritually. So that's something I've been doing most of my life as a very direct purpose in my life. Then it becomes something practical. So we have practical spirituality. And in this world, there are lots of reasons where we could be disappointed, bewildered, confused, upset. I mean, and lots of that's obviously going on in the world at this time. So how can we see the best is yet to come? And I say look spiritually, and that's something we can do within, like what you just conducted with the light. And that's a practice that's really important for all of us to do. I like to make it as simple as possible, that we can do it in one breath, easily, and continue to expand and open up and get a view of what can become. So open up our awareness of what would we like to come manifest, and see what the vision is, and open up our creative imagination so we see beautiful processes beautiful events, occurrences. Some of those can be obviously personal, and those can be also shared in the world, so that we can envision peace on earth, goodwill, fun, joy is plentiful in this world. Something like that.
That was beautiful. Thank you. That sounds like a great best. Do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Celebration.
Celebration. I love to get to celebration.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So as I was sharing with you guys, I put this out on social media and said, I have these two beloveds coming. What are your dream questions? So, so I kind of amalgamated, I think I just made up a word there, kind of put together the themes that I saw. Mm-hmm. So everybody just about wanted to know, what the heck is it like, this union, this marriage that is really, to me, a marriage to God, but each other, you know, can you pull back the curtain? And
let's see, I'll pull back. Come on now, what do you have to say about that?
I think what I would say is, you said it beautifully. It's first, we have a profound, each of us, marriage to God, and to loving as our instant fallback to everything, really. We all get off base of loving. We're human, and this world, our lives, our karma can pull us off the loving very quickly. It's a magnetic world. But when we rise up in the spirit as a devotion, we get out of it being magnetic. And then we can very more effortlessly connect with the loving. And I find that's my everything, is my choice of fallback, is when I'm off, is how fast can I get back to the place. And that's really, for me, usually, you know, be still and know that I am God. That's one of my favorite phrases. It's like, be still and know that I am. Be still, be. It's like, get to the quiet place where I can ask for help, for spirit, and that's my go-to to feed my marriage, because I love and adore John. I chose him as he chose me because I love and adore him. And it's maintaining that through loving, and loving can look like a simple moment of respect. It can look like a simple moment of, what can I do for you? It can be, how are you? Are you doing all right? Checking in. I think, gosh, it's just human tools, but I think what feeds me is the spirit. How about you?
Well, I'm enthralled with what you're saying, because I'm in it. And part of what I look at in any relationship that can go into its greatest potential, so it doesn't have to be a marriage, but it certainly can be a marriage. But it could be any relationship, children and their parents, in your business and with your neighbors. It can be something really powerful. When it's something we can look to as good, we're inspired, we're led by something that's good that we share, then you find it at a level that can take on anything. And there's also something very powerful in any marriage when we choose, and that would be the opportunity to put the love of God into it as a union, that what God has put together, that it has a power that would allow for us to work out any differences, any difficulties. And I don't know any relationship, let alone a marriage, that isn't tested by something to pull it apart, to make it difficult, to ruin it and shatter it and that kind of thing. So it does take a willingness to find the sacred, and I think that's a direction within, and to take on a full responsibility, like I'm responsible for whatever's needed right now, and there's always a need for love. So if you don't know what to do, I'd say go to the loving. That always works, and it makes for a beautiful marriage and one that can continue.
And loving can look like saying, I'm sorry. It can look like, I forgive myself. I really was off, and I expressed in a way that wasn't my higher angels and created kind of a messy thing. I want to clean it up. So that, again, back to the fallback of wanting to bring things back to where they're most organically attuned to the loving. But keys are things like forgiveness, I'm sorry, how are you, things like that that help us bridge as loving human beings.
Beautiful, and I love the multidimensionality of I'm sorry and forgiveness, because to me, I'm sorry takes care, it addresses the basic self. If we tend to just go, oh, you know, I forgive it all, that's of course our high self and beautiful, but we do have a tender self inside that can get hurt.
Sometimes can get hurt, cranky.
And what an opportunity to find another way to be loving, you know, when it is something that's difficult, or why did you do or say that kind of thing, including it could be about myself. If I'm in a reactive place and I do something I realize that's off, it's good to have somebody that wants to do something about that, uplifting and positive, rather than use it as I'm counting and measuring what you're doing or not doing, and disappointing and hurt feelings and all those kinds of things.
I think there's also tremendous value in knowing yourself well. Like, I'm very easygoing, and if I get sort of like I think of your mother, my foot is stepped on, that's a metaphor. I can have a fiery Scottish temper, and it's like a wildfire. It isn't like it's 0 to 10, and I've gone from 0 and all of a sudden I'm at 10. And where was the weight in between? I didn't even have a handle on it. I was at 10. So I know that about myself. So I'm learning that if that part of me gets triggered in reaction, I know it's not going to have the best outcome. It'd be much better learning to grab it. And you help me.
Thank you. I love helping you.
You do. You help me when I get like that, which isn't often, but it is. I've grown to respect it. I didn't used to have. JR said one day, "You don't have a sword." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "You need to find your sword." And I said, "Oh, why do I need a sword?" He said, "Because you need to give yourself permission to have a reaction that has anger in it, or a sense of injustice, speaking for yourself." I didn't know what he was talking about. And one day I found my sword. I got so excited. I called him on the phone. I said, "JR, I found my sword." And he said, "Are you like Zorro?" I said, "He's much too refined for how I am right now." But I'm going to learn how to do Zorro. Anyway, every once in a while I have a Zorro. A little more refined.
And I look at this sword as a reference to the truth that we sometimes need to cut. Was a delusion, a fantasy about how a relationship should be, or how the day should be, and get to, well, what is it really? And then sometimes if we just learn how to deal with what's going on and have the openness, so there's honesty. Honesty is very important in any relationship, in marriage in particular, that we learn to work through the truthfulness of what's present, not what used to be,
or
which
a
can become
romantic
a club.
fantasy.
And then where do we want to go with this? That's also, and we do a lot that I would call it worship, and I'd call it praying, being in the light, infusing ourselves with the sacred as much as we can, and I think that's an amazing strength in our marriage, and it could be in anybody's marriage. However you do that for yourself.
Beautiful. Just so I like being in the middle between this. This is fun.
Child for a day or something.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I like
okay.
all this love going back and forth.
You can be our eldest child.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. I accept.
Angel.
So speaking of that, what do? You know, you said this spiritual practice and the prayer, and the beautiful thing is our listeners are very wide range of practices, which I think is just gorgeous.
Oh, I
because
do
we
too.
all come together. A lot of people are attracted to this show by the name, Live Your Love. And to me, that's what you are both talking about in your marriage. So one more question about marriage, because this is just too juicy to leave yet. So when the challenges come from doing the work, because you are both incredibly devoted to that, when the challenges come from doing the work, I'm going to let you finish that. I actually don't want to even program that question. What comes from spirit in relation to that?
I'm not clear about what you're
What
asking.
I'm asking. What do you do? How do you sacrifice that lower self, that sword, that, and you know, I love JR's quote of sacrificing the justified righteousness, withholding the justified strike. Where the ego has, I'm grossly paraphrasing, but the ego has all the right reasons.
All the reasons, the righteous indignation, the whole scenario.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do you lay that down?
Would you like me to read this?
Yes, please.
Is it okay, John?
Of course
All
it's
right,
okay.
darling. This is a quote from our beloved John Roger. I read it this morning. I read it last night when I was having one of these moments. JR said, "You would be far happier if you gave up certain things. This may not be easy for you. We nonetheless suggest you give them up. Go cold turkey." It's timely. Starting right now, this minute. Give is an upward. Up is an upward. Put them together and people get awfully down. I'm not going to give up anything and sacrifice. That's even worse than giving up. Sacrifice means giving up something really good. Well, the things we think you'd be better off sacrificing are things such as greed, lust, hurt feelings, judgments, demands, spoiledness, envy, jealousy, and vindictiveness. We could add righteous indignation, throw it in. Did you think we were going to ask you to give up good stuff? Most people think that sacrifice means giving up only the good stuff. Not so. The negative stuff, the cold stuff, the hard stuff, you can sacrifice those too, and you can give them up. Surrender them to the higher part of yourself. I think this is the key. Surrender them to the higher part of yourself, which you know experientially. Surround them with light. Let them go. You don't need them anymore. Giving these things up will give immeasurable gifts to you and those you come into contact with. I thought that was timely about what to do. The willingness to sacrifice it and give it up, because there is a higher place you want to be.
And being aware of a higher place, being aware of, well, I'll just take better, let alone, I don't even know if there's anything better, like best, that's yet to come. But having the sense that I have it within me, and then we have two who have it in a relationship, so either one of us could give 100% in the moment as a way of resolving, as a way of loving. And I look at it like it's sometimes sacrificing what I wanted or what I expected. And that can be something, well, I'm putting out a fantasy. It's a wishful kind of thinking, not a reality based on what's present. Then how do we get through this moment where there's something John Roger would reference as friction, you know, and then it needs some sandpapering or something like that. And it doesn't need a club, it needs something. How do we refine this and taking the responsibility, take the lead? You know, so I often consider it, this is on me to have a way to work it out. I welcome what Leigh does. That's something that's soothing, encouraging, inspiring, funny. Laughter is one of the things that we love to get to.
It's a big key.
Get to a smile, particularly a really beautiful smile like that. And, you know, that we can. So then we also have patience. So that's something, I heard from John Roger as let go and let God. And you go, well, he's not the first person that said that. And I'm sure you're correct. But he explained it in a way that's very deep. And he said, letting go is to relax. I went, wow, I think I can do that. Just give myself an assignment to relax. And then letting God is being patient. And that's the one I went, I think I have to work on that. I'm not so good at it. I think that's my weakness. So I have strengthened my patience, especially just to get through, to endure in moments. That we're going to have passages where, what was that? It might be, I don't know, whatever it is, let's just move on. I've had plenty of those. Like, we didn't understand it. It didn't make sense. It wasn't what either one wanted, but what do we do with that? Move on, and maybe at some point there is a learning. And I do teach, there's always learning. We're here to learn in this world. However we got here, the assignment is learn from your experience, and every experience gives us greater learning, which is greater ability, greater knowledge, greater wisdom, and also that those are keys to having what we want. And I consider we're here to have a beautiful life. That's one of the purposes, is work it out, whatever this world brings us. So our life is a beautiful life. It's a life that contributes and makes not just a life better for each of us personally, but contributes to a better world. And that, to me, is one of the signs of a spiritual life. We make it better than we found it. That starts at birth. So if you're a little behind on what you've been
There's
doing,
always time. We're
you might want to do something more today to make a better world, maybe in simple ways.
The other thing we do, not to be missed, that Alicia did so beautifully at the beginning, is if there's something we can't seem to, we call in the light and we give it up. We ask for the traveler consciousness, the Christ. We ask for all those energies just to lift the negativity. That's the most magical thing, isn't it?
It is.
It is truly magical.
It truly is, and it doesn't, to my point of view, it doesn't matter what words we use. It's the intention
Just
of
the
our heart.
intention to let it go in the light.
And there's something called the carrier wave, and what I mean by that, the tone in the voice, the tone in the look. It's like, if someone says, I take a picture of your face right now, what am I going to see? So it's like, oh, okay, I think I'm going to change that.
That's a good line.
Yeah. And then it helps people reflect. So I think relationships are also, whether we like it or not, mirrors.
Yeah.
We're always in the mirror in relationships. At some level, something's being reflected to us. And we can use it to help whoever we're in relationship with, but we can always use it to help ourselves. So that if someone's upset, at some level I go, okay, maybe that's my upset that's being brought to me. And how can I change that? And often it says, well, then be more kind, or be more helpful, or say something that makes them laugh. It can be something like that.
Beautiful, beautiful. I attended a relationships workshop about a week ago, actually, with a couple of friends that we know, and the facilitator said something that actually it was about men, understanding men.
You think that's possible?
I know, right? In one
Really?
weekend.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, and then don't even get me started on understanding women.
Oh, I know. Oh, boy.
So, but he said when men are, he said it's like when men bark. I'm sure this applies to women too, but it's like if your dog is barking, you don't go sit down and start barking at the dog. You see what he's barking about. Is there somebody at the door? Does he need to go out? This morning my dog.
Does his stomach hurt?
Exactly. But you go minister to the dog. You don't sit down and start barking at it. And it's funny because I thought it was a good, apt analogy.
That is good.
And so you talked about making this a better world, and that starts at birth. And
I want to say something right there.
please.
I think one of the signs that the Spirit's active in the world is we welcome the birth of a child from the first breath. But and for a mother, you know, it didn't just start at the first breath, and there's a lot that goes on with that. And then, you know, that's important. However conception takes place, and you know, it may sound like I'm getting political. I'm not intending to be, but just to take responsibility for what comes into our life literally, and to nurture, to consider we're here to do something, and then if we do something to change, we learn, if it's, especially if there's something really difficult and something that says this was not the best way to have my choices work out, things like that. And so I just look at it that it's in every moment there's a turning point, and there's a turning point that goes up. I heard that in Jared's quote. So always look for, well, what would be up, what would make it better. And if we don't see it in the moment, look, there's wisdom there. And then be patient. It's coming. The best is yet to come. So could I have a little better? Okay. But would you mind waiting? Well, it's pitch black right now. This is the darkest moment of my life. It's like, okay, but something's coming. Wait, hold on. Have some faith here. Have some trust. In you, I find Spirit's in us. It's not something someone's going to give to us. It's in us at birth. And once we're onto it, it's always a turning point. We can always turn the inner up into something higher.
Beautiful. Did you want to add anything to that?
No. Thank you.
That was gorgeous. A few days ago on Blessing This Day, and I want to just tell viewers and listeners, Blessing This Day is an incredibly, up until now, kind of hidden gem, which not anymore, I'm going to spill the beans. Blessing This Day is this gorgeous gathering that John and Leigh do every weekday morning, correct? Mm-hmm. At 9 a.m.
Well, with some exceptions for holidays, etc. And we travel a great deal, so we'll make exceptions for that.
So very often, most weekdays. And it's free, and I'll tell you all about how to find it at the end. It's super easy. So I'll tell you really quickly, you just go to msia.org or download the MSIA app, which is also free. And every morning at 8:45 a.m., there'll be a banner at the top that says Blessing This Day. I'll remind you of that. But Blessing This Day, I know it was on the 19th. I think it's about 5 days ago.
Okay.
Could have been the 17th. You said something really incredible, and I'm going to completely paraphrase you, so forgive me for that.
Okay.
But I actually have the exact quote in my email. But you talked about the frequency of the planet changing, and that we are a bridge to that. We're part of that. And of course, we were all together in Israel. A few months ago in July, and then of course what's happening in Israel and Ukraine and on the planet. How can we be greater purveyors of that enhanced frequency, of that better frequency, of that loving frequency? What can we do?
Well, the first part of that I just see is it's actually easy when we do it, and it's to be something that is uplifting, our energy, our way of looking, our attitude towards anyone and anything. And I know it's really difficult when such awful, terrible things, I'm not pretending they're not awful, terrible things going on in the world, violence and injustice and corruption and these kinds of things. So it's like, okay, this can be really challenging, but we can still do it. And then take it on so that we don't have to have our peacefulness disturbed. Something else may be disturbed like that. That doesn't have to be. That should not be. Okay. But the outrage can be, well, what would make it better, truly? And sometimes just a peaceful presence in the room. Well, what do you have to say? Right now, I don't have anything to say. I just want to be quiet. You know, and some of that is, I am in shock. I am disturbed. But I know I want to find peace as a presence right now. And just to make that kind of thing what we do more and more. So it can become a very positive, uplifting way we choose to live. I'm not saying this is going to be popular, because sometimes people want, like, we got to do something about this, and they have a lot of energy and forcefulness and that kind of thing. And then there are things that need to change immediately, need to stop immediately. Yes. So how do we do that so in some ways it's lasting and it grows, it expands? Those are questions, but I think questions often lead us to where we need to look and what we need to do.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to?
No.
When you said the frequency is changing, is that to the positive? Is it just different?
Well, if the land was poisoned and then you had something like an earthquake or a flood, well, the poison might be brought out by, let's call it an earth change. And then let's consider the earth is changing. It is. It's dynamically in change. Even if some people view it as it's awful, it's worse. In my lifetime, it's gone down. It's gotten darker or negative. Okay. But let's consider that's something like upheaval. Mm-hmm. All right, then what do we do about that? And I'd say, well, let's, what would take the pollution out? What would take the poison out? And adding more poison into it, that's kind of insane, to put more poison into the world. Violence, hatred, that just isn't going to work. So we need to somehow stop it, and then how would we stop that so it's something like the last time? So part of that I just see is something larger. So I do consider there is a God, a one God. That's my faith and trust. I have my own experiences of what that is. I could go on for a long time about that, but it's not something I try to sell to people. I really hope we can in some way share it. Or I can say, well, what would it look like if God's inspiring you in this moment? That's a good question. And this kind of thing, so we have more understanding going on about the upheaval, and that we can outlast it, and we can turn towards, what would make this world stay still in its presence of peace and loving and at least honoring of one another. So we have these differences. They've been here all along. How do we work them out? Obviously, my conclusion is war is not the way, and it's a way, and then whatever people call that, so what would you do in any kind of situation? I go, I don't judge it, because I've learned that doesn't work either. Like, that's the worst thing that they could possibly do. Well, maybe there is something there, so I try to see the good in what is going on at some level, and then work that. Maybe there's a different way to stop the violence or deal with the perpetrators. Maybe there's a better way. Let's look at that. I don't have all the answers. I just have the answers that I have.
No, it's beautiful, and the carrier wave upon which you are vocalizing it is palpable and beautiful. I have a question for you.
All right.
And this is again from my poll on on social media.
Is this question my question?
Is this your question? What's your question
For
for
Leigh?
Leigh? Yes.
I'll let you say it.
No, I want you. You're right.
That's my sense of humor.
I like it. I like it a lot. So several women on social media wanted to. You look nervous.
Not at all.
Okay.
Because I'm looking in your beautiful face.
Oh, well, back at you.
Yeah, and I love you.
Yes,
go ahead. Sorry.
You are, and I 100%, we had this beautiful, I'll have to send you the dialogue about how you are really an embodiment, a model of the divine feminine. And in this time where, of course, we're looking at how, the being in radical acceptance and love of all the different expressions of non-binary, etc., and this is not an opposition of that. It's actually in celebration of the divine feminine. and the way that you hold, like I watch you sometimes, you don't know that. I watch you sometimes while John is working his magic with the room. And to me, you're such an incredible battery anchor of light for him. And so we would love to know, what is your point of view on the divine feminine? How do you reside in a place of beautiful femininity, as well as be the spiritual warrior you have to be to keep up with this one?
That's very true. You know, I don't relate to all that very much. I don't see myself in ways that evaluate myself that way. I love women. I really love the feminine. I love the feminine in women who carry it because they're women. I love the feminine when I recognize it in the male. It really moves me. It's an energy that, to me, is nurturing, that is compassionate, is patient, holds, definitely. John spoke to, I thought you spoke beautifully to holding earlier, like it's like patience and enduring past something. It's like riding energy, as if you're almost on sometimes a wild horse, sometimes a horse that's gentled, sometimes not so gentle, but you don't fight it, you flow with it. So I might have some inherent things that occur. I think what leads my way, to be honest, especially when you reference John, I just love him. And I think love leads my way there. Love is my teacher, because it's John, and there are a few of us in this room know that John is not normal and has...
Did you know that?
and has quite dramatic responses to things sometimes. So sometimes, and he's powerful, so sometimes that's my teacher. And the loving teaches me how I'm going to dance with that. Not control it, not dominate it, not make it do what I want to do. How can I, in a sense, follow and yet not lose myself? I think for women in general, when they really love someone, that's a measure they have to be mindful of, because there's something that just loves to give it all over, that then we can never lose sight of how we navigate with another person, such that we maintain our interests, our joy, that it doesn't become trying to be you. It's me loving you as me, bringing the best I can to the table. And sometimes there's a lot of sacrifice. Sometimes there's a lot of managing details with grace. If I see that dishwasher one more time, it's where you go, I love this dishwasher. It's part of the dance I'm dancing. All the aspects. So it's the game of life. You know, if you're a woman, you're playing it as a woman. The idea of the divine feminine to me is just, if you're a man or a woman, just love God with everything you've got. And then you're a divine man, you're a divine feminine, you're divine. And that's where we all want to be with this world. John spoke to it. It's like no matter what's put in front of us, what's our relationship with it? Is it a loving one, or are we judging, irritated? Why am I doing this? What is that? As if there's a case to be made. The case to be made is be ourselves, grow, as John was saying, grow, grow, grow with everything we can, love the most we can, and keep our eyes on the prize, which is the Spirit, God. Our tones, for us, it's our tones, it's calling in the light. It's constantly returning to that. To me, that's a divine feminine and a divine man. It's all good.
I see why you have a crush on her.
That's true. And my version of a dishwasher is I am the dishwasher.
Yes.
Because I don't like to use the mechanistic version, and I grew up washing dishes. It was something that was part of my family's household.
He's
so.
become very good at it.
Really?
You've gotten better over the years, honey. I'm appreciative.
There's hope. Okay.
Those things really matter.
So wait, you wash the dishes? Is that what we're hearing?
He assists
Yeah,
greatly.
I do, and I, for whatever it is, there's something about cleaning things up that is uplifting for me.
Yeah.
So
Well, you are
that's
the cleanup
easy,
guy.
and I also do laundry, and so
Wow.
occasionally
He's very good at
I
laundry.
both put spots on the window, and then I sometimes take them off.
Yes, and if he doesn't, I take them off.
See how this works out.
Little peek behind the curtain there.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
So, I've mentioned the traveler consciousness here and there on the show. Would you please tell, like I said, this is more of a very wide range. What is the traveler consciousness, and what's it like anchoring the traveler
It's something like
consciousness?
the elephant in the room who also flies.
Nice.
Dumbo. Oh, okay.
My
Some of you
favorite Disney
remember Dumbo?
character.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Yes, I love Dumbo.
Yeah. Well, I just look at it as a
That's a very good
universal.
description. That's a very good description. I'm going to
It is,
remember
it
that.
is. Dumbo's adorable.
No, the elephant in the room who also flies.
Yeah, so there you go. And
Takes other
I
people flying.
view it that it's in everyone. It's in every home. There's no place where this presence of the divine is not. And I know people don't necessarily agree with me, and that's okay. And then maybe we find some other way to get to it, like love. So I would say traveler consciousness is loving consciousness, because that's God consciousness. And so the traveler is a consciousness that comes into the creation wherever we are. So it's in every aspect of who we are individually. Then also, because it's in everyone, then we share it, whether we recognize it or not. And I just see that the simple, practical way to look at it is it's loving consciousness with a complete dedication to being truthful, because it is truthful. And the whole spirit is that consciousness of the living truth, so it comes in convicting us. And, that's a word sometimes they convicting. I don't want to be convicted. It's like, well, if you look at it, like, it's going to straighten you out. It's going to put you into repentance now. And it's kind of like you're going to see the truth, whether you like it or not. You might as well at least embrace it. At the very least, I'd tell people, embrace the truth. It may take a while because of whatever illusions, fantasies we've had and held on to get adjusted. And I call that disillusionment, but that's a positive. So the traveler consciousness is going to help you disillusion. That means less illusion, if you look at it. And then when we brighten up, we become more clear, and it's a consciousness that can help with that. It's not really important what we call it, so it doesn't really demand that. But it's practical to call it something. And then, it's been around, so it's not invented or created recently. It's an eternal. So then it's been called other things, and all of that. Then this could be a discussion and would go on and on and on, but I look at it that we can awaken spiritually. That's really what I'm saying. And then, John Roger had his experiences. They're very powerful. They're very well developed immensely. So there's lots of opportunity if people want that. But what I'm really saying is find your divinity, wake it up, live with it. It's a beautiful, majestic consciousness, but it's also a consciousness that's going to, make us grow up. We're here to grow up and become beautiful beings on earth, not just in heaven.
That was beautiful. Beautiful. What's it like being married to the traveler?
Absolutely wonderful. It is. It's wonderful.
I'm laughing because it can be just really challenging, and I know what that is on a personal level. With myself, it's challenging, and then to have somebody get close to it. May I just for a moment?
Sure.
So on the day I talked to John Roger for about 7 hours about working directly with him, personally with him, and I did, starting in 1978. He told me, like, living with me is like living on the edge of an active volcano. It's in eruption, it's in lava flow. And it has an element of that for me.
Definitely.
Than anybody who's close. It's like that. But it's also amazingly exciting if you can learn to navigate what goes on with the flow of this consciousness. It's a beautiful, glorious life, and it's a very ordinary life. So I can be married. That
Dishes
also
and
brings in,
dishwasher.
I can do
Remember
the
that?
dishes. I can, stumble, scrape my elbow, so all these things are part of the ordinariness of what it is.
Thank you. Is there anything else you want to say about?
No, it's just a magnificent journey, and it teaches me every day about myself, what my choices are in response to volcanic lava. And it's always to my upliftment if I'm choosing well, if I'm in the right place. It's always uplifting, always,
Beautiful.
even when it's scorching.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful. And forgive me, I cannot remember I think it was were you recently in South America?
Yes,
So I watched
we just got back.
a seminar, so it was very recent, and you were talking about gratitude, and you said the most beautiful things, again I'm paraphrasing, but it was like, I love my life because I'm grateful, again paraphrase. You remember what I'm talking about?
Yes, I think the thing that I was saying is I'm so grateful that I feel grateful. That I can touch into gratitude, that I can choose. I think that's what I was saying too, is what a gift it is that we can choose our consciousness. No matter what is coming at us, no matter the external events, we get to choose how we're going to respond. And I love the best I can responding with gratitude and grace. Yeah.
And you said something like, gratitude has given me everything. Something like gratitude has given me everything.
Well, it's abundance.
Yeah.
There's so much to be grateful for.
What are 5 things you're grateful for?
I'm grateful, this sounds weird, but I'm grateful for my nature. I'm grateful for how I want to love how that's my North Star, that I'm grateful that that's always with me. I can never not have it or not be aware of it. It never goes away. When I'm off base, it's still there. It just means I have to go back to it. I'm grateful for that kind of GPS. Is that what you call it? GPS?
That's one of words, like a navigating system.
A navigating
that tells us
system.
where we are, and then we might find out where we want to go.
Exactly. I'm grateful for my navigating system. I'm grateful that I get to love John, that I have this opportunity. I'm grateful for animals. I'm so grateful for animals. I'm an absolute every animal. I love them all. I periodically, I say, honey, would you be at all interested in having a wombat?
A wombat.
A wombat.
Yeah, well,
I'm in love with them.
That's her wish. So
It's one of mine. And the other day I came to him with as much sincerity as I could offer. I said, honey, we have a very big backyard. Do you think we could have a baby cow?
If it stayed a baby, it might be open. But as soon as we move to what does the cow become?
It could be all kinds of things. It could be a baby pig. So we have a beautiful cat. I'm so grateful for my cat.
Gabriel.
Gabriel. He endures something I call a forced snuggle. He's going to be kissed whether he likes it or not. I take him to the vet, and the vet says, "Are you sure he doesn't have a rash?" I say, "No, that's lipstick." He's...
And then sometimes that's how I show up too.
No, I protect him the best I can. Anyway, I'm grateful for those things.
Beautiful, thank you. And I so was going to ask Danny to bring Halo to the studio because I know this about you, and we share this. You know, in Israel, I think we were the first two people at the turtles. There were baby turtles.
Oh, those turtles! Yes, so those were adorable.
Yes, and then the stray cats, and I'm the same
Oh, the
way.
stray cats! I was feeding the cats at Nafghanistan.
Yes, we had a system to feed
we
the
had
cats.
a very
Remember?
secretive system because the owners did not want, they wanted them to starve and die. So we took it on as a mission.
We did. We snuck food out. We had to be very creative.
Yes, we did. We did well.
Yes, we did. Oh my gosh, we're already almost, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Time has flown. So my last question is, unless it's not, John Roger, are there any, just whatever you're inspired to share, but we always love hearing stories of John Roger, and I've talked, our listeners know who John Roger is. I would love to hear a story from each of you about whatever comes to heart and mind to share, whatever story comes about John Roger.
Gosh, that's wow, that's big. But you go first.
That was my assignment. So when I was working with him to begin with, it started in a very practical way, like sweeping their driveway and more. So I was doing things for him personally, and the other people working closely with him physically, they were in leadership and had very important jobs and responsibilities. And so I started doing things like drive the car or make him a sandwich. And so we went up to Lake Arrowhead where there was a retreat going on, and then the other staff went over to the retreat grounds, and then I went to the motel with John Roger, kind of a small, quaint little motel, and we checked in, starting putting things away in drawers in the closet, and there was a front room, like a living room kind of thing with a kitchen, and then there was a bedroom, and I came out in the front room, and then John Roger was not there physically, and then I'm like, I didn't hear him go, and he didn't say anything like I'm going to go over to the office or I'm going to go look at the trees or something. But so I started looking for him, and this went on for at least 5 minutes, including I went to the front office. Have you seen my friend? No. And it's like there's a highway right by the motel, and like it doesn't make sense you couldn't be in the highway. And and then I probably walked in and out of the room 4 or 5 times because I was looking under the bed. I was looking in the bathtub, behind the curtain. It's like, and he's sitting in like a lounge chair in the room. And I, where have you been? He said, right here. And I said, well, you couldn't have been here. He said, I've been here all along. And then then the hair starts going up because he had some abilities. Whatever you want to call them, mysteries. That's another way. Like, how did you do that, or even why did you do that? But then he started laughing. And then I knew I'd have been had at some level. And did I ever really figure it out? No, I just figured out that he had a lot of ways that he didn't tell everybody about. And I really think to this day, most of what he could do and did do, it was something like maybe some have the eyes to see, the ears to hear. And I would count myself as occasionally I had that opportunity. But for the most part, he was the most mysterious man I've ever known. And I remember telling that to a producer on the Oprah show, and they were considering putting him on as an interview with Oprah. And then she asked me what is the quality that stands out the most about John Roger? And I said, he's mysterious, mystical.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. Leigh.
Okay. Oh, well, as some of us in this room know, that there are so many stories, all kind of magnificent. What I was asking inwardly of JR, is it all right or clear that I share this? Because I've never shared it. I haven't even shared it with you.
Uh-oh.
So,
Go ahead.
and it was clear. John and I have been married numerous times this life. This is worth a show. We've been married numerous times, and we actually got divorced once so we could get married again. It's really a wild tale.
It's true. We did.
It is
so
true.
we could get married, we had to divorce. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
that's another story. So we had this gorgeous wedding at Prana, which is the center for MSIA downtown, a heritage house that's gorgeous, a formal wedding. And then we flew to Las Vegas, and later that day, we had an Elvis wedding in an Elvis chapel because JR was in Las Vegas and we wanted his blessing. We wanted to be with him. So to do it, we did another wedding in an Elvis chapel. And one of our fellow ministers dressed up like Elvis.
Yes, there was 2 weddings in one day.
2 weddings, and both legal. And at the end of the Elvis wedding, which was ridiculous, I mean, it was so much fun. Our fellow minister dressed up as Elvis, talked like Elvis, did the whole service of the wedding in Elvis-ese or whatever. It was really funny. And at the end of the wedding, JR was sitting right there. We had a little dance, John and I, and then I fell at JR's knees and put my arms around him.
By design. Yeah.
By design. I didn't trip. And John came on his knees to the other side of JR. And JR moved my face on the other side, away from anybody. And he said, I'm going to tell you something I don't want you to ever forget. And it was so serious, I kind of pulled back like, uh-oh, because JR had given me numerous little study programs about how to prepare me to be married to a traveler. He would take me aside and he said, now. And then he would give me some tips. Thank you, JR. And so I thought maybe it was a tip because we just got married. And he said to me, pulled me, and he said, what I want you to remember is I love you. And the second thing I want you to remember is God loves you. And it went through my cells. And I think it was like, no matter the journey you're going on, and there may be times you forget that you're loved, I'm telling you, you remember this. And it went inside, and that was the blessing. And then he spoke with you. Then we got up and moved out of the chapel. JR was slow. We had 2 caretakers. He walked out. It was hard for him to walk. He walked out slowly. Then when he got out of the chapel, he literally, all of a sudden, he pushed them both aside. He came to me, walked right into me, and he said, do you remember what I said? Oh. I said, yes. And he said it again in my eyes. And I said, I got it, JR. I got it. That's
what a beautiful thing to share with all of us, including me.
You hadn't heard that story?
No.
I'd never told it out loud until now. So I thought,
It's the secret.
might as well have a big group, many who know that was JR. He loved us. He came to love us, and he loved us all the way through. And thank you, John, for everything you do to do his work in this world. I know what you do. I have testimony to it. So thank you.
Yeah, maybe you'll have to explain it to me sometime, what I do. It would be good.
That would take away your mystery. Okay, I'm going to try to start a meditation without crying, because I want to cry right now, because that was so beautiful, both of your stories. Beloved listeners and watchers, as you know, what Live Your Love is known for is an experiential meditation at the end. For the first time in 2 years, we're going to do a merged meditation.
A merged
A
meditation.
one accord meditation. So I'll start it, and then we're gonna do tag team, and we don't know what order any of this is gonna be, because it's
I know who you are.
Can I repeat what you just said?
Sure.
'Cause that was too cute. Oh my God, Leigh just whispered to John, "I know who you are." That was the cutest thing I've ever
Maybe
seen.
you heard that too, because we have good microphones.
She's
Confirmed.
Yes. So let's just come into a place of immense gratitude. And we just now open our hearts evermore, if that's possible, and we know it always is, as we just come into the spiritual marriage right within us. And so if you would just once more receive a breath of love. And the curious thing about this breath of love is that God is breathing you from within you. And so as you receive the breath, it is God within you receiving the breath. Rather than looking for God, we are God looking out from within the sanctuary of love. Open your heart now to receive of the spiritual marriage, the sanctity, the union, the baptism of love itself. And be aware of the most beautiful font of loving right within you. Perhaps it starts from your heart and extends into the high heavens, touching even to where that elephant is who flies, the traveler consciousness. Coming into the joy of that loving, opening your arms to the traveler and saying, "Here I am. Your bride, your bridegroom, your beloved. Marry all parts of me to thee, that no part of me might be too secret, too ashamed, too dark, but all of me might be wedded to love. That all of me might be dedicated, consecrated to this spiritual marriage within. That I might be a purveyor, a way shower of loving, in support of the traveler right here amongst us, in support of the Christ right here amongst us, wedded only to the highest, which is everywhere at once, loving truth. Open me, Lord. Receive me and know that I am love.
In knowing that I am love, I choose to be the one who loves. When moments come of darkness, challenge, confusion, misunderstanding, at the speed of light itself, I choose into the loving. I place my hand on my heart. I feel the Spirit in my breathing, that God is breathing me. And in my choosing to fill with the loving and be the loving, I become aware that my eyes don't just look, but they see goodness in everything, regardless. In choosing the loving, I'm aware that my ears take in the sound of spirit that's in everything, even if it seems we can't hear it. Act as if we hear the sacred melodies. as I choose the loving, my words, my speech, I choose to speak kind words, words that encourage, that say, I see you, you're not invisible to me. I see your heart, I see your eyes, I see your humanity. I welcome you into my heart. I don't need to know your name. I just know you, allow you to be someone I love. And as I choose to love, I bless. I let my consciousness expand and radiate out with awareness and intention that my presence is a blessing, that where I go, where I walk, what I do expresses the blessing of loving.
And in this blessing of loving, we experience our oneness with all things, with everyone. And the energy of this experience is always in harmony, always beautiful. So we have a viewpoint, a way of relating to it in the higher consciousness. This is our blessing. So now that may be your willingness to be open, to be moved in your consciousness, to trust that you're in protection, but you're also in new experiences that are more conscious, more aware. So your heart is full of the loving that comes into all of the creation. It's always present no matter what. In this moment, let's visit the mind, the emotions, the body, the psyche, whatever that is in the moment. That can be some awareness of the negativity, the pain, the suffering. But it can also be what would inspire, what would clear, what would heal. There is a blessing into the highest consciousness. And so you make yourself available in the highest consciousness to see, to hear, to witness the beauty, the grace, the harmony, the good in all of the creation. Then allow yourself to come into the personal nature, the human nature, that you can embrace it for what it is, that you can withstand that experience and hold your peace and be in your loving and even your understanding. So let go of any judgment. This is the blessing. There's no need to judge. There's no need to blame. And that can be letting go of the reasoning, seemingly the searches and seeks for something that's beyond the mind. The blessing is beyond the mind. So open up so you're embraced. You may experience this as a blessing in the body. So the body is relaxing and opening physically. The breathing is very easy and in grace. For some of you, it may be deep, profound, that you're letting go. Let's trust that you're in the presence of the divine. The blessing is upon you evermore. Beirish Beshan.
Beirish Beshan.
And this is the blessings already are.
Thank you both. That was exquisite. Exquisite.
Oh, thank you, honey, for having us.
My extreme pleasure.
Thank all of you for being with us.
And I would like to tell you so much goodness that these two have for you. There is all kinds of ways to experience what they so generously shared with you. So the first thing I want to tell you about is called Blessing This Day, which I said a few quotes from that. Again, we talked about it. It's every weekday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. It's broadcast all over the world. It's live streamed most weekdays. It's completely free. You have been doing this since COVID started, right?
Yeah.
3 years?
Yeah.
3.5.
3.5 years. It's an incredible community. There's a chat so you can connect with others, and it's really, in my experience, it's such a beautiful way to start the day. So the way you find it is super easy. You go to either into MSIA, which stands for the Movement of Spiritual Inner Awareness.org. For my YouTubies and podcasters, I'll put all these links in. From my radio show, beloveds, MSIA.org. And you can also download the app. It's a free app. You just search your app store, both Samsung and iPhone, for Movement of Spiritual Inner Awareness, and you'll come up with the MSIA app. You can also search for That Which Is, but it's a little harder to find. So I would search for MSIA on your app store. And then every morning at 8:45 a.m. Pacific, there'll be a banner across the MSIA website. You can do it on your laptop, or you can do it right on your device. And there'll be a banner on both the app and the website that says Blessing This Day, and you just click on that and it takes you right in. Again, for YouTube or podcasts, I'll put the links in so you can just click on them. But I strongly recommend you download the app. It's free, totally free from your app store. And it's Movement of Spiritual Inner Awareness, or you can even just search MSIA. That is a treasure trove of free content from John, from Leigh, from John Roger, who you heard the gorgeous stories about. You get tons of free content. The first 5 playlists are all more introductory material if you're not familiar with this work. And for only $10 a month, which that's the best bargain ever, you get at least hundreds of hours, if not thousands of hours of listening to John, to Leigh. Well, you're on there too.
I am?
Yes, you are. I
JR
have listened to
and
you.
John.
And John Roger. Thousands of hours. There's John Roger seminars from, I don't know if the earliest is 1963, but pretty soon after that, maybe the early 70s.
68.
68. Okay, 68. And it's just incredible. And the cool thing is there's a search feature right at the top of That Which Is. So you download your MSIA app, and in the middle of the icons is That Which Is. Totally free if you just do the $10 a month. It's tons and tons of material. You can just put in the search feature peace or forgiveness or, againstness or whatever you want, spiritual exercises, meditation, and then it gives you a whole list of seminars. Amazing. If you want to do it on your laptop, That Which Is, ThatWhichIs.org, thatwhichis's.org. Again, I'll put the links in for my radio show listeners. Just remember MSIA.org. There you will find John, you will find Leigh, you will find John Roger, and you'll find all kinds of goodness. And let's see, there was
LTY.org. That would be an opportunity for a very substantial website. Oh, thank you. LTY.com. Her website has a substantial way to explore all of her lifetime of works as an actress.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. LTY. And you have to listen to her meditate. You've heard her voice.
Oh.
Your voice is just the voice of an angel.
Oh.
So LTY.com, and that was next, and I think it's the cutest thing ever that you're promoting your work.
I'm a manager at large.
I love it. I love it. That's adorable.
Yes.
That's totally adorable. So that her meditation is on there. What's the name of your meditation? The Peace one?
Spirit of Peace.
Spirit of Peace, and lots of other incredible And she, as you know, is an amazing actress, and there are all kinds of your life is incredible. Your
Thank
life is
you,
incredible.
darling.
So lty.com. If you'd like to receive my free content, you can go to aliciadas.com/book. So that's ALISHADAS.com/book. And there you can receive all kinds of free content, meditations, manuals. Right now, my focus is on angels. Right now, okay, lifelong, my focus has been on angels.
Yes.
But the book I'm writing about is called Your Archangelic Ancestry. And if you go to aliciadas.com/book, you will receive, again, manuals to connect to the angels, as well as videos on spiritual protection and clearing for light workers, and lots more. And then also, I'm going to be sending excerpts from my book to be released with Hay House in January of 2025. I'm already starting to send out excerpts from the book. So aliciadas.com/book. So next month, thank you so much for joining. I'm going to tell you again how to find these beautiful peoples. Next month, do join next month for our January show with incredible 4 times best-selling author Radleigh Valentine. Radleigh Valentine is an internationally recognized spiritual teacher and 5 times international best-selling author of beloved books such as Manifesting Your Magical Life. Radleigh is such a love. You just want to like listen to him forever. He's just a big teddy bear and incredibly profound. Joining him is Dougal Fraser. Dougal Fraser is also an internationally recognized spiritual teacher and author who's been featured on Oprah's network, Dr. Phil, and Good Day LA. So these two are such loves, as I've had the joy of corresponding with them about the show. They are completely funny, totally loving, and you will just fall in love with them. So that's it. Oh my goodness. Thank you both so much.
Pleasure.
Oh,
Okay, thank you.
Love,
this
love.
has
God bless
been the
you.
best.
Yes, bless you.
We love you so much. MSAA.org, that which is, download the app. Anything you guys want to say in closing?
No, just God bless you.
We love you.
you.
Love you so much. Bye-bye for now.